Morning, all. All right, so today we've only got one game in the NHL. I decided to wear my Bakersfield Condors jersey because why not? Um, Probably just rifle through some of the AHL jerseys I have and wear some of those because sure, why not? We've just got the one game tonight though, which is Boston and the Islanders. So this is first spot in the Final Four, and Boston's trying to stave off elimination. The Islanders, in front of their very raucous, loud home crowd, are going to be doing their best to move on and get that opportunity at revenge from last year. Right, last year the Tampa Bay Lightning took them out in what was a very close, very well played series. So for the Bruins, they're going with Rask, who we get the feeling is not 100% based on the reports we keep hearing about. He may not play. He's got nagging injuries, may not play. So we'll probably find out what those are if Boston gets knocked out. We won't find out before then. But it is interesting because this could very well be Rask's last year as Boston's goaltender. And yeah, we'll see how things turn out. But he's definitely not 100%. Jake DeBrusk is also back in the lineup. Bruce Cassidy took him out in the last game. Wasn't happy with his play in game 4. So he goes back in for this one, and it looks like Corrali will be centering the fourth line with Lazar out. So some moving pieces on that Boston roster, and we'll see how things go. We'll see whether or not Boston's able to stave off elimination or not. I'm not making any kind of a bet on that because no. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see whether or not the Islanders punch their ticket and then they get a shot at Tampa. And you have to think that if the Islanders were to win tonight, then that semifinal series between them and Tampa would start, I'll say Saturday. I would think probably Saturday. Remember, the NHL wants to move this up. If you can move up the Stanley Cup final and award the Stanley Cup sooner, then you're making it so players have more time between the end of the season and the start of next season and all of that other wonderful stuff. And then you just don't have to worry about it. You don't have to worry about awarding the Stanley Cup too late. So, yeah, and then they have extra time between winning a Stanley Cup and all the other stuff that's going to happen with free agency and expansion and everything else. The Norris finalists were revealed today. No surprises. None. Victor Hedman, Cale Makar, and Adam Fox. So I still have a suspicion that Hedman wins this year, but Fox and Makar being top 3, that's fantastic. That is absolutely fantastic, and yeah, no argument there. And so yeah, we'll see what happens. But I would think Hedman's got the inside track on this, although Fox put up a ton of points. And so there's definitely the possibility that Fox ends up sneaking out and winning this. For the Winnipeg Jets, so they had their media availability yesterday, and of course, or this morning. I think it's this morning. Anyways, because nobody was talking about this yesterday, so it's this morning. The groin strain in game 1 is what kept Dylan DeMello out. Ehlers also talked about how he'd had nagging injuries during the year, but he still felt like he was 100% during the actual series against Montreal. Scheifele will miss opening night for next season. He can participate in everything else. He can. I'm pretty sure he'd play exhibition games because he's not suspended for the exhibition games. He's suspended for the home opener, road opener, whichever opener it is. He's suspended for it, and he's making some headlines with his statements about how he thought that in the series Dano would shut him down, but instead it was the Department of Player Safety that shut him down. It's fine. I don't know. Some of the stuff I hear from Scheifele, I'm like, he was my favorite Jet. He really was my favorite Jet. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Again, it's not like he's always in the news for the kinds of things like the hit on Evans. So we'll see what happens in upcoming seasons. But he was my favorite Winnipeg Jet. Petrie. He may miss game 1, very likely misses game 1 for Montreal, but should be back early in the series. So game 3 at the latest, I would guess, is the way that they're seeing it. And so for Petrie being out of the lineup, he did miss that clinching game against Winnipeg. You wouldn't know. Montreal's defense really didn't give Winnipeg much of anything, and I think they're able to absorb that pretty well. Evans, he's working out, which is great, and there's some belief that he may return at some point in the semis. Concussions are like that. You never really quite know how long it's going to take. Sometimes players will come back from a concussion and then realize a few shifts in, oh, I'm not ready for this yet, take themselves out. So hopefully Evans takes the methodical approach so that when he gets back into the lineup, he's truly ready to play. So, yeah, Montreal, pretty happy. The CN Tower decided yesterday, well, we're going to light ourselves up in the Habs colors, and people are seeing this as potentially a troll of the Toronto Maple Leafs. I don't see it as a troll of the Toronto Maple Leafs at all. I'm saying that because, there's this Canadian feeling of it'd be great if a Canadian team won the Stanley Cup, and since Montreal's the last remaining hope, then that it makes sense to me that the CN Tower, the most well-known tower in Canada, and so they decide we're going to throw our support behind the only Canadian team left. I don't see it as a troll of the Toronto Maple Leafs. I know it's in Toronto, but yeah, I don't really see it that way at all. And it looks nice being lit up in different colors, right? So yeah, there you go. The Kings. The Kings are apparently, according to Darren Drager, they are seeking two top six forwards. So, and that's could be via trade, could be via free agency. So yeah, they're looking for two. And that tells me that the Kings want to start making improvements and clawing their way back into the playoffs. And they may very well be looking at the picture right now of how the Pacific may look next year and saying, you know what, we can get into a playoff spot with the right moves. And I can't disagree with them on that. With the right moves, absolutely the Kings can get themselves back into this. Interesting note from last year. So last year's Final Four, the Islanders, they could punch their ticket tonight. Tampa Bay already have. Vegas, they could punch their ticket tomorrow night. And Dallas. I'm just taking a moment of silence for Dallas. I mean, I knew after the Stanley Cup final last year that Dallas wasn't going to go back to the final, but man, what a rapid drop that was. Anyways, so yeah, 3 of the Final 4 could very well be in the Final 4 this year, and that is remarkably rare. That's the kind of thing that I can definitely do a video on at some point on how rare it is to see teams repeat in the Final 4 at all, much less 3 of them repeat in the Final 4. So again, not coronating the Islanders as of yet, but it's likely that they end up taking out the Boston Bruins at this point because they get 2 chances to do so. So we'll see what happens, but if the Islanders make the Final 4 2 years in a row, I have to say it might be the best low-key runs back-to-back by a team that I've seen. Absolutely remarkable for the Islanders to be able to do this. And both years, many, myself included, not giving them much of a chance. So, yeah, and, there's definitely some comments from the Jets as well about, oh, nobody gave us a chance to even make the playoffs. Okay, well, all right. Anyways, so I was going to say something else, but I'm going to hold off. I want to talk about Seattle just to throw this in here. Remember, we are 6 weeks from today is going to be the expansion draft. So 6 weeks from today, there will be an expansion draft. So this next month is going to be the month of live streams. And there will be a live stream, of course, if/when the channel hits 200,000 subscribers. There'll be a live stream for that. There was at 100,000. There will be at 200,000. And there'll be a live stream for the expansion draft, obviously for the entry draft for day 1 and day 2. And an expansion draft at the beginning of free agency. And so that's all in a really short period of time together. So if you're a mod on this channel, make sure you're well rested, good to go, and thank you for your service. So yeah, 6 weeks from today, we will know the players for Seattle. There was an interesting article on The Athletic yesterday, and I think it's highly worth reading. So if you have a subscription to The Athletic, check it out, on how Vegas, of the 30 players they picked for their first year, team in the expansion draft, about half of those guys either never played for Vegas or didn't play like a substantial role in the team going forward. So that's why when we look at the expansion draft and we look at who Seattle has to choose from, we go, this doesn't look that great. It wasn't that great for Vegas either, and Vegas did not take the best player available from every team. They were smart. They didn't necessarily take that veteran who scored 30 goals. They might pick somebody who played, in the AHL and had barely played in the NHL, but might end up being pretty good, or they might pick somebody that's underutilized on his current team. So look for Seattle to do some of the same thing, and we'll know the protected lists on the 17th of July. So that's not long from now either, and I may do a live stream that day as well. I know I'll do a video going over the protected lists when those come out. And between now and then, stuff's going to happen because there's a lot of trade talk going on in the National Hockey League. If you are a fan of a team that's vulnerable to this expansion draft, you're like, wow, we're going to lose a good forward or a good defenseman. Odds are the general manager of that team you cheer for is currently working the phones trying to figure out a way to make sure they don't lose that really good player. Whether it's talking to Seattle directly or it's talking to another team about swinging a deal so that they're less vulnerable for the expansion draft. But these trades will likely come to fruition as soon as the Stanley Cup playoffs are finished. They can happen now, but they'll likely happen once the playoffs are done. But let me know your thoughts in the comment section below as always. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.